Welcome, everyone. Trying to wear the broker to broker hat a little bit more, but I just want to welcome everyone back to season 5, another broker to broker podcast. I'm your host, Mark Summers, founding president of AIME. Today, we have a guest. How can I say this? If you've ever been to one of our events, I can almost guarantee you better. She's doing phenomenal things within our community. She's always one of the ones that is willing to help. Extremely helpful member. Always a member of our community, a great home buyer advocate, and let's just be honest here, a committed mother. She's the founder and broker of 4MG Mortgage, Ashlin Endter. Ashlin, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on, Mark. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do for AIM and the broker community. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we got a good team behind us, got a good community, so it's actually pretty easy overall. But you said something before we got started that you were in Michigan. I didn't even know that. We could have done this live. We could have just had cameras here and everything, but it is what it is. So I want to hop in with you and talk to you because I think your story is pretty good. I think it's one that a lot of people can relate to, and like how you got your start. But really, I just want to kind of set the stage here. And how did you end up in the wholesale channel, and how did you become the broker owner of 4MG Mortgage? What's your story on that?
So I guess if we're just gonna kind of give you cliff notes on how I got into mortgages, 5.5 now years ago, I was on welfare. It's like kind of my line. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. My best friend couldn't pass her real estate exam, and she's like, "Hey, let's go get a mortgage license." I'm like, what are we doing, friend? Long story short, got into the mortgage business. But when I got into the mortgage business, I came in as like a processor, business development rep, a little bit of everything. You're doing marketing, everything, and you have this person that has a license, and you're just working for them, figuring out what conditions and stuff are. From there, once I learned what the mortgage business was like, I decided to go into the retail model. It was really interesting to see, right? Because I saw all of these very polished people, typically males, right? Like we love males, but let's
Mhm.
have the honest conversation with their beautiful Rolexes and lots of success. And I was like, I don't understand how they have all of this success when I'm struggling to do 2 and 3 loans a month. Like I'm sleeping on an office floor, I'm not completing conditions, I'm not moving fast enough. So I went over to retail for about a year and a half. I learned the business structure, and then I came back to the broker channel full time. We're not going back in August, September 2023. And we've been here since. I transitioned to a company. I was really happy. I still think it's a phenomenal company. A lot of great friends there. I'm based out of Orlando, Florida, but it's a man's world. And there was a lot of stuff that I was just like, they're doing great things, but it's just not me. It doesn't fit in with me. And I was like, you know what? Let me just do mortgages. And I called my old AE at Flagstar at the time. I was like, hey, I would love to work with you again. My current brokerage told me that I can have you on as my account executive because they don't do a lot of business with you guys. And she's like, oh, you opened up your own brokerage. And I'm like, no, why? And she's like, well, who gives you leads? I'm like, I'm self-generated. She's like, so who structured you? And I'm like, well, I have a team. And she's like, so why don't you have your own brokerage? And it bit me, Mark, and that was it. Like I was like, can I really do this? And then going out to UWM, and then I got partnered up with a whole bunch of people. And all of a sudden it was like, wait, you can do this. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it out. There's not a lot of women broker owners in the business. First of all, being woman, Hispanic, minority. And I was like, let's try it out. And that's kind of where it all just came together.
So it's funny you say this because I was speaking to someone on the broker side before this call, thought about hopping over to retail to learn the business and then come back to broker. So, and I think what a lot of people in retail need to understand is that, they do a very good job of their processes and it's a numbers game with them. And I think that's where a lot of brokers kind of miss the boat. They think, some of us do, let's just be honest. When I say us, it's just, you put a process into place and you want it to work fast. It's just not how it works. So when you did your retail for a year and a half and you came back, you started your own broker shop, what was one of the biggest takeaways that you took from that retail side? You go, I'm implementing that into my business.
Structure, structure. Look, I know, and like it's not a secret, right? And we're gonna have the genuine, honest conversation, and that's what you know me for. Retail trumps the overall mortgage channel because they just have such great success in their structure. But that's exactly why they win. They have it so figured out because, right, as an originator, we can't wear all the hats. Can I calculate self-employed income, take 10 calls, have 3 loan consultations, lock the rate? You can't do it all, right? And we talk about being better, faster, stronger, and it's true. Everything on this side, and it's not one of those grass is greener on the other side. It really is better on this side. But the one thing that retail has is the structure. And that's the resources also because their margins are so big, right? So you have enough cost that's being passed on to the client where you are being able to have an appraisal person who sits at a computer and orders appraisals. You have an LOA who's on staff on, commission plus salary who can handle 10, 15 loans a month plus an active pipeline for 3 or 4 loan officers. So really what I learned is I'm outside sales. I'm the rainmaker. And that's one thing we need to teach our new loan officers, our people coming into the broker channel, the established people here. I see it every single day. Ashlyn, how do you have the business that you have? And someone is going to go on Reddit and say, you don't do enough business, but I do a lot of other things that do not get reported, but still they have the structure. And this is where it comes in. It's like, it's not even rocket science. Outside sales, rainmakers. This is your loan officers. Inside sales is your LOAs and your processors. We need to be out getting the business, shaking hands, kissing babies, getting known in the community, right? And being the people's choice. That is what retail focuses on. Their guys are on the golf courses, at the lunches, at the Mortons, at all the places, and they're always networking and they're known. And then they hand it off to their team. And it also allows them to be out with the people, doing things, shaking hands, kissing babies, and getting involved in the little things that they need to get involved in. But they're always the front face. And you can't be that if you're in your files. That's just the truth.
Oh, with what you just said, how is your team structured so you're not wearing all of the hats?
I think we had talked about like success being relative, right? But when I opened up the brokerage, I was doing it all. And I will be honest, because I do have a lot of people that come to me for advice now and they say, should I open a brokerage? And the first thing I say is, well, let's have a conversation, right? Are you opening up a brokerage because you have a different vision? Are you opening up a brokerage because you don't like your split and you think you deserve more? Or do you want to open up a brokerage because you're not at the right place? Um, so when I came over and I decided to open up my company, I realized that, structure is the most important thing. So what does my team look like? I'm back to outside sales because I can't do it all. But we have a front end loan partner who takes applications and collects documents after the initial consult call. So I hold the first initial consult call with my clients. We kind of figure out their mortgage story, what it is that they want, what it is that they're looking for, what's their cash to close look like, what's their monthly mortgage goal. I have that first initial consultation with them. They're handed off to a loan officer assistant who takes their application, collects documents, and pulls credit. After the loan is structured, hopefully within 48 hours, we're back on a scheduled loan consultation call where I sell the loan. I educate them on what they're approved for. And then from there, they get put into the pre-approved and looking pipeline. And we follow up with them every Thursday. Once they are, until they're under contract. Once they're approved, um, once they're under contract, sorry, once they're under contract, we'll go ahead, refresh, make sure that nothing has changed, collect new documents if we need to, pay stubs and bank statements if needed, run the findings again, make sure everything is good, talk final numbers with them because, sometimes cash to close changes based on the rates, lock it up, send it to processing, and then I update them every Tuesday before 1 p.m. So everybody on the transaction gets the updates, listing agent, buyer's agents, all the people on the actual contract and title.
Perfect. Look at you got this down. Look.
I like to think so.
You used a term in our pre-meeting. It's called failing forward. What does it mean to you?
Oh man, if I could write a book on it, I would say like it's the premises of success, right? A lot of people are failing forward is the only way that you're going to win, right? So let's start with that. A lot of people get stuck, right? And to be honest, I'm kind of in this space now where I'm trying to go a little bit more direct to consumer, and I'm like, well, I don't have the perfect XYZ. I don't have the perfect setup. I can't do this. I can't do that. And that's where failure happens. It's by inaction. So I tell people, You only fail when you don't try. So it's kind of like baseball, and that's why I love baseball so much. When you look at the greatest baseball players, right? They have the most at bats. Let's say out of 1,000 times that they swing a bat, they miss 700, right? It feels like failure, but it's not a real failure because they hit 300 times. But that's how the greatest are made. And that's really what I focus on. Failing forward is I'm going to take the shot. If I don't get the end result right, if I miss the mark, well, then I learn from it. And what do we learn from it? And how do we not repeat that mistake? But you got to push forward. And so many of us get stuck in this stagnant action of like, I can't do it. I won't cold call. I won't door knock. I won't do the things that I need to do. And then we don't have the business that we want.
I mean, it's almost to me like when the stuff that we don't like to do, it makes us the most successful.
It's true. It's true. I have a lot of people that come and we'll have like genuine conversations, and I'm like, they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, look, I don't feel like I'm any special or different than anyone else. Like we all have our magic. You have things and talents that I'll never be able to possess, just like I hold some talents that you will never. And that's the magic. That's why this works. Everybody has so many different great assets to give to this business, right? But it's what I tell people. I have two girls. I was on welfare 5 years ago. I was counting diapers. I was literally trying to figure out like if this child used an extra diaper, I don't know how it was going to happen. I was going to have to ask my mom and dad for money again, and they were already supporting me and my two kids. If there's a wall between the thing that you need and want and the opportunities on the other side, you have to be willing to run through the wall. Like if your next meal is on the other side of a cement wall, you need to crawl, break, kick, do whatever it is to get to the other side. And in this business, it's typically just getting out there, shaking hands, kissing babies, be willing to look stupid sometimes, right? And ask for the business. It's not rocket science. One of my mentors the other day was like, "You're gonna tell me that in Florida alone, like 400,000 transactions have already happened, and you can't find 12 in the entire state of Florida?" And I was like, "I'm gonna take that back to my team."
The truth hurts sometimes, and it's funny because if you really look at it from a broker standpoint, we have all the stats on it. We have lower closing costs, lower rates, better service. We have more products than the banks do. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes I feel like we're always, some of us, or maybe some of us that are struggling, always just for the easy way out. No, it's not just posting on Facebook. No, it's not just going to one realtor event. It's all of it. Always putting yourself out there. And I love using the term farming. You know what I mean? Because it's the best way to think about our business. If you farm now, you're going to get results later. And that's just the way it works. And it's the best feeling when you started farming 3-4 months ago and you maybe had a potential buyer, and then they call you. I mean, we all know that feeling. It's the best feeling because we really didn't, we worked on it 4 months ago, let's just say, and then didn't work, but then they call you and you're like, it worked, and I think we just have to keep that mindset going the entire time.
I agree. I would say 100%. And going about farming, like let's talk about something that's really prevalent right now: chickens. Like, full
What?
disclosure, everybody is raving about how the prices of eggs are ridiculous, right?
Oh, yeah,
So
right. I didn't know where you were going with that, just so you know.
Mark's like, we're talking about chickens today. Well, we purchased recently 9 chickens, and my girls are like, when are we getting eggs? And I'm like, well, that happens in probably, baby chicks, the brown egg layers. That takes about 18 months. And they're like, we're going to have to wait that long. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to keep going to Target and Publix to buy your eggs. But it's the same thing. You have to nurture this business. But in the process of nurturing the business, you also got to nurture yourself. I think it's really important for us to take care of ourselves too, but also know like the results that you need to yield are in the work that you're avoiding. And if you're not willing to do the things, then please don't go online and complain about how bad our business is. It's just you're not in the right space or the right mindset, or maybe it's just not the right business for you, and that's okay. It happens.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing that I know you do a very good job is you advocate really, really hard for home buyers in your community, right? You're a big part of your community. Hell, you're a big part of the community. But in your own community, what do you do? How do you throw yourself into that?
Um, I mean, I think that's a great question. I think really now I've kind of pivoted in the last 6 months about being an advocate in my community. So what I've really been doing is focusing on the areas in which I essentially want to farm and hatch my eggs from, right? So I'm getting involved in the realtor associations, going to their lunches. I'm actually in the process of finishing getting licensed to teach continuing education to realtors.
Hmm.
Um, I think a lot of how I can get back to my community starts with education. I'm also getting involved with some nonprofits that actually help children who were in the system, right? Uh, Before they reintegrate into society, they keep them from, the time that they're 18, that they're no longer supported by the government. They take them from 18 to about 22 and they teach them how to reintegrate into society. So we're going to be teaching them financial literacy. We're going to also be doing an internship with some of the local colleges. And we're also going to start an initiative with Miami-Dade Police Department on really educating our kids and our youth on what home buying is actually like, credit, the need for good credit, the need for good assets. But what I'm doing in my community, besides helping our younger generation, is I'm going to start having weekly Zooms and showing up to the Chamber of Commerce events too. One thing we've noticed in the last 60 days is that there's a lot of shame when it comes to home buying. I am in a very, very large cohort of Hispanic home buyers. And one thing I see is they are often embarrassed. The conversation usually starts with, I have a 680 credit score and I don't think that's good enough to buy. And it's like, wait, no, let's have a conversation. So, really getting in on not just educating the realtors on the minimum requirements, educating our youth, but also educating the people who are coming and meeting us for, like just for conversations. I think there's so much pressure when it comes to buying a house already. One of the things we've allowed, and one of the things that we've seen a lot of success with, is just saying, hey, let's have a conversation, no strings attached, and let's go from there. So it's a lot of people to people, face to face, breaking bread, a lot of great conversations. And then we're going to start really getting into continuing education for our realtor partners and teaching them tidbits on how we can start having meaningful, powerful conversations to have people get on the phones with us. Because once we educate them, they feel empowered.
And Ashlyn, this is awesome because I think you're hitting a lot of nails on the head here, and I use that term a lot. But you know, th- mortgages, the way we do it, and especially in this world today, is not just who has the best rate, right? Like,
Right.
or who just has that program. What you're doing, in my eyes, is spot on. Yes, we need that stuff. We need our marketing. We need rates drop and do all this stuff. A new program comes out. Yes, we need that. But what you're doing is you are educating. You are becoming that person that you know when they think about a home, they're coming to you. And it's a numbers game from there. The more people you can have those conversations with, you don't need all the money in the world. Just said I spoke with an individual earlier today and they were saying like how they're spending like $3,000 a week, and I thought that was ludicrous. I'm like, I've never spent $3,000 on a week in a week trying to get business or buy leads like that. I don't do that. I just am. I'm very deep into my community. We always have those conversations, you know what I mean, and always bringing it up. Always going to chamber events, realtors, spreading the word. We call some realtor offices sometimes and say, hey, can we do a 15-minute education on kind of what's going on within our industry right now, or maybe some mistakes that we've seen so we can prevent those from you so you can get a repeat client. And what you're doing is absolutely spot on. It's that personal touch, it's that personal education, and you're going to be their person when it comes to real estate for the rest of their lives.
Thanks, Mark. I hope so. Sometimes it gets discouraging, right? Because we see like these big monsters and it's the retail guys who are still winning out here, and that's the truth. Um, So sometimes it's a little discouraging, but this month alone, I've had 5 rescue loans from clients, realtors, people I've just known in my network, or somebody, one of my realtor partners says, you got to call Ashlyn. She's the only person that can do it. And like I said, it starts with a lack of education. We got to do our jobs. And one of the things that I'm going to be very loud about and passionate about this year is making sure that us as loan officers, we're doing right by our clients. Um, you should not be issuing a pre-approval letter without pulling credit. I can't tell you how many times this month I have saved people's earnest money deposits just because the realtor started off by telling the loan officer, hey, don't pull their credit. They don't want to pull their credit, and then they're under contract on a 640 credit score with not enough trade lines, and their conventional loan falls apart. So I'm really going to focus on education. It's where it starts, Mark. um, but also going deep. We don't have to go wide. We got to go deep with the people that really have the same vision as us. And we just got to keep knocking on doors, asking for opportunities, asking for reviews, doing the things. Man, if I spent $3,000 a week in trying to get business, I mean, crap, I probably wouldn't even have to do, like, that's like the income you need a month, but there's many ways to do it. But I think this is just the way that it works for me. It's slower, right? Brick by brick. But I know that it'll yield the results over time. Actually, one of the things I've noticed is when you get in a room with a lot of realtor partners, just say, hey, did you guys know that you can have more than one VA loan? All right, cool,
Right.
let's have a conversation, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely spot on with all of this. And I just think we just need to keep nailing this into people and just keep peppering them with our fellow community people. And it's you're not going to be that giant. Hopefully you can get to that point. And if you want to get to that point, but just being a part of your community and just having the conversations, no matter where you go, it just goes a long way, which brings me into my next question I have for you is, going into 2025, I know we're already a little bit into it. Basically, first quarter's done at this recording time. What is your mindset? I love hearing people's mindset because everyone's a little different. Like, what's your motivation? How are you going to crush it in 2025?
2025 is here, and the whole market shift of like rates are coming down. Listen, if I hear one more conversation about rates, I'm going to scream. I can't do it. I won't do it. I used to be in retail selling 8.99% interest rates costing 3 points. And my clients were selling cars to be able to afford their closing costs. Here's the thing, the market will make you or break you. And you just have to be strong. You have to double down. There are people out there selling 8.5% rates costing 2 points when you can sell 7.5 costing half a point. Like, it is real. So what are we doing? We're just doubling down. We're doubling down on the things that work for us. Everyone in the company right now has 3 goals every week, and making sure you're touching those 3 goals every single day, every week. Very 3 things to win your day, right? Tracking our metrics and just getting out there. I think people need to get out from behind their computers and be out in the public. Um, Look, anybody can structure a loan, right? As long as they're trained. It's not rocket science, that's the reality. But where the magic happens is in connections and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. This is the community I want to impact. Let's go hand in hand together and go. So we're really going to focus on our core 40 realtor partners. We're going to focus on divorce attorneys, um, personal injury attorneys, and go deeper, continue with our chamber events. We're also going to start hosting, more events in the community, really focusing on the nonprofits and getting out there and just becoming known in the community. Um, you got to double down, guys. The numbers are there. When the market crash happened, just like when COVID happened, there were so many opportunities for people to become millionaires. You have to
Mhm.
have the right attitude. The loans are not going to be falling out of the sky, right? But they're there. There's so many opportunities. Love on your past client database. Look for the things, because everywhere that you look and everyone that you meet needs to know what you do and how you can help them. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to continue doing that and getting educated on everything that continues to grow in the broker channel. I think education is really important, and that's how you're going to be able to win.
Yeah, no, I'm big on that. It's it's selling is not just what your rate is. You know what I mean? And I'm with you. I used to, we all get into patterns. Let's just be honest here. And I was on MBA's highway looking at, okay, what's mortgage bonds doing today? Okay. You know what I mean? Listen, those are refi opportunities. I tell people all the time, and I got two new people coming on. I tell them that purchase business is where we live, right?
Right.
And that's what you live off of. Refis are gravy. Now, I am kind of changing it just a little bit percentage wise because so much people, because the last 4 years, let's just say, are in debt and they're in a lot of debt. Consumer credit card debt's at an all-time high. Well, if you have a ton of equity in your home, that you're not going to get a cheaper rate than what you get on your home. You know what I mean? So a lot of this, and that's where retail, basically they win. I mean, that's where they win a ton. And so we've kind of changed it a little bit, but at the same time, I don't care. I could give less what the rate is. Can I put you in a better situation? Everyone has an issue. Well, not everyone. Well, we all have our own issues. But
We
at the
do.
same
We do.
time, at the same times, most of these people have a problem or a need, and they don't know that we can help them in many different financial aspects. Using home as a financial vehicle is literally what creates your wealth. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I have that conversation all the time.
And I think it's such a good point, Mark. Look, just to backpack on that, I just closed a VA loan with one of our lending partners, and it's a very, very dear client. VA family, 4 kids, and they had an all of a sudden escrow shortage because they got hit with CDDs. Like they didn't really understand the whole thing when they went through the process of purchasing a new build. Got hit with CDDs, so the escrow shortage was about 10K. Their
Well,
AC went out. You know, so now they're like, wait, we have a 10K escrow shortage. Our AC went out. We're having our other child, we're in over our head. Like, what can we do? And it was like, okay, let's look at your options. You can pull a HELOC, this is what it's going to be, or you can just adjust your interest rate. And we ended up paying off about $28,000 in debt, getting them about $10,000 back, and we got rid of the escrow shortage, and they were able to fix their error, and their monthly mortgage was going up probably like $400 to $500. And it was like, we're getting rid of high interest debt. We're taking care of the escrow shortage because we don't have $10,000 to pull right now. There's so many opportunities for the people that take the time to educate their clients. And that's why I agree with you. The shift of saying purchase is the main focus in our economic sector that we're in right now. Purchase is 100% still our focus, but there is equal opportunity in serving the clients that don't understand that you can get a cash out, that you can get a HELOC, that just because you get a cash out today doesn't mean you can't streamline refi 8 months down the road. There's so many opportunities for people who are really, I hate saying it, but it was so true. It was said the other day, most people are one flat tire away from losing it all. And it's true. So if we serve these people with these opportunities and we help them, we're always going to win.
love it. Absolutely love it. And my last question that I have for you, because you've been great, you've been absolutely great. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but like I'm a big motivation guy. Like I get up in the morning, I have this app that's like, some of the most successful people and their motivational quotes and them talking, and it just kind of gets my day going. You know what I mean?
Which,
Comes to you in motivation, and you've brought this up a few times. What does your business name mean?
oh man. Um,
Because I know that's motivation for you. I know that's motivation.
yeah, I was just having this conversation at a dinner with my AE last night. So my motivation is my girls. I am the proudest mother of a beautiful 9-year-old who's named Valentina and a 5-year-old named Alicia. And I am a loud and proud girl mom. It's the only thing that I know. So my why is really big, and it starts with my family. Definitely, my girls are my focus. So when I was sitting around and I was like, I got to name this mortgage company that I'm going to open up, I was like, well, what do I name it? I was like, I really got to get something that gets me going in the morning. So I was like, you know what? It just popped. Like I would tell you that it was some fun story, but it was just like, okay, 4MG. And I was like, well, what is that? 4MG stands for my girls.
Love
I
it.
didn't I think now is the time when it hits me a little bit more because people will ask us and they'll see the shirts and say, "Well, what's 4MG?" And I'm like, "4MG is for my girls." And I mean, I've had people cry, and I'm like, at first I was like, it's no big deal. It's just a dumb name, but it's brought so much meaning. And I think I found the meaning when having conversations with people. 4MG is for my girls. Yes, this is for their legacy. It's how I keep a roof over their head and take care of their needs. I'm the only providing parent for them. And but also I think in the terms of growing 4MG, I've also learned that the G can be replaced for whoever it is. So 4MG is for my girls, but for my loan officer, 4M is for her future. So when she talks about it, she's like, I work for 4MG, but my broker owner always talks about like, it's just replace the G with what it is. So she's like, I do loans for my mom. My mom was a single mom. She came here from Cuba and she raised me as a single mother. So that's her G, right? Her G is for my mom, you know, mine is for my girls. Then we find, now we have other loan officers that are joining. They're like, well, this is for my family. This is for my kids. And it's been kind of cool to see how it's grown into something else where, yeah, this started for my girls, but my girls motivating me and giving me that passion and feel to get up every morning to continue doing this has now spread to other people finding their motivation and passion too. And it's been really cool. It's been a full circle moment.
Well, hell, if that's not motivation, I don't know what is. That kudos to you on that one, Ashley. That's absolutely awesome. It's the story's better than I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I can tell you're very, very passionate about it. It I could see it bring a little bit of a tear to your eye, but at the same
Yeah.
time, that's awesome. You're one of the most authentic people I've ever met, and I just want to thank you for coming today and sharing. And this conversation was great. The back and forth was phenomenal. Just thank you for being who you are, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you soon. I'll be back in 10 days, so maybe we'll get together. But thank you for everything you do for the community. Thank you for being such a huge advocate for the broker community, for introducing so many of us to AIME itself. I've met so many of my best friends and partners, people I can truly tell you I have family members across the United States because of AIME, and it wouldn't have been if it weren't for you and then everything that AIME has brought me. It's my community away from my home. It's my home away from home, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done and continue doing it. What you do matters, so thank you.
I appreciate that, and I don't want to get too emotional right now about it, but no, I'm kidding. Thank you so much. So your time here is absolutely greatly appreciated. So everyone, if you see this girl, please go up to her, introduce yourself. She's one of the good ones. We'll just say that. So, brokers, if you want to get caught up on all of our past podcast episodes, head over as well as other AIME Network podcasts. Please head over to aimegroup.com/broker to broker. You can also listen and watch all AIME Network podcast episodes on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Anywhere where you can download podcasts. If you're on YouTube, our tag is @AIME National. Please subscribe to it. We're trying to blow that up because this is just phenomenal content. Everyone else, please rate our podcast and leave a review. All this us spread the word in providing to the world that brokers are best. Ashley, you're one of them, and everyone, have a great day.